present. And again, we are looking at the Lite view, the most commonly used features of TransactionDesk, using an example account from a client of ours in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. So TransactionDesk Lite, most commonly used features of forms, digital signatures, document management. We are going to start here. Pardon my mouse for a moment as it kind of flies around the screen. I'm minimizing that go-to training sidebar. We're going to focus on transactions. We're going to go through the steps to start a new file. Just like today, if you were grabbing a manila folder to start filling with printed contracts and forms, you can replicate kind of that same steps, but doing it online, managing those files through the web-based applications. These are entirely web-based services to the cloud to manage your sale process. Clicking here on Transactions, middle of the screen, Transaction Files, to replace those manila folders. So here are a couple of transaction files that we have created previously. Let's just walk through so everyone is comfortable with what are the features of a transaction file. We're just going to take a couple minutes of our 20 here just to review one first. Before we start the new one, we'll just take a look at the features and opportunities that are found within a transaction file. So hopefully it also emphasizes that you can come back and re-access your file at any time to manage, update, revise, work with that in-process sale. So I'm going to click there on Jack Jackson Buyer Prospect to open that file. To see the features or elements, if you will, of details for address, city, state, zip, purchase or list price, those details, dates that you may want to have added to your transaction file. Details page, in the top third of the page, screen, if you will, left-hand corner, transaction details. That details is highlighted kind of a darker charcoal there, property information. Bring that in. Whether you are benefiting from MLS imports, which we'll show in this demonstration, or you are manually entering this, it is valuable data to add for two reasons. One, it's online. Second, it's going to auto-populate our forms. That's one of the key reasons to work with transaction files, is to auto-populate multiple forms with your details like address, city, state, zip, list price, or purchase, depending on the type of transaction, dates. So you get these fields to auto-populate throughout your forms and contracts to reduce redundant data entry. You type it once here into your transaction file, that detail will flow through to the forms and contracts. Speaking the next tab, moving from left to right, top third of the page again, we're in the Details tab, moving to the right to Contacts. Much like those details, contacts, buyers and sellers, cooperating agents and brokers, whomever you would want to add to your transaction file. Add them in here. These contacts will auto-populate form fields for buyers and sellers, yourself, your broker, your cooperating agents and their broker, whomever you would have requirement for fillable fields, you can add those types of contacts here. Again, we'll show these steps, but I just want to go through quickly so you can get the feel of a new file. Forms tab is the next. Moving left to right now, Forms. Complete access to the Forms library to bring any form that you would require into this transaction file. Agency agreements, listing agreements, purchase contracts, amendments, addendums, disclosures. Complete access to an entire forms library. Most users get state forms and local association forms, and then a lot of users also receive custom office forms. We offer all those different programming services, but that's really what we do. We're master copiers, if you will. We receive the forms from the state or the local association or the broker. We program and post those forms online to be fillable online forms so you can type them up. Online forms library, and we will look at this a little bit more, but before we move on, I want to speak to this phrase. I'm in the middle third of the page, right hand side, I would like to. And every time that you see this phrase, and we'll start to point it out as we go forward, but every time you see this phrase, it's going to mean we have options. There's a menu of choices of features available to you. The one that's visible here is Add New Form. But we will always see this drop-down triangle. Whenever there is I call them list of values, or whenever this menu is present, that upside down triangle will kind of highlight that. So you want to kind of key in on these features. This phrase, I would like to, this triangle to represent these menu items. As we go through, we'll point out this phrase. It's very consistent throughout the pages, throughout the functional pages of details and contacts and forms and documents. Within those functional pages or tabs, we have these features. The forms features to add forms, delete them, email or fax them, auto-populate them. I want to pause on this one for a moment because that's the step. We add the details and the contacts. We auto-populate our forms with those features. So good essential feature here of basics of TransactionDesk. I would like to drop-down menus, upside-down triangles to represent those menus. Next tab, next functional tab is Documents. Clicking on the Documents tab, if forms are online and fillable online forms, documents are the signed, ratified contracts. They are the home inspections and surveys and title commitments, loan payoff amounts and pre-qualification letters. All of that documentation that you receive throughout the sale process, the documents that you need to retain online for state-required retention periods. You can use faxing services and document upload services. There's that phrase again, I would like to upload document, to upload stored documents to the cloud, online, available now 24 hours a day from any internet-enabled device. So that's the value of putting them to the cloud, getting that type of accessibility, and then you can also make them available to other parties too. You can make them community documents that many people can access if that is a value. So that's a transaction file. Last tab there is History, which is going to capture all of the activity that takes place within the online file. So time and date stamp, try to get that out of a manila folder. That time and date stamp of all of the activity that took place, any actions, the old values and new values and things like that. So all of that activity and history of that online transaction file is captured within the web-based app. So going back to transactions, top third of the page, shading there just to the left of center, clicking on transactions. Then we want to go back, we want to start one. We've got 10 more minutes, we're going to start a transaction file, we're going to add some details and type up some forms. So transaction files. Keep in mind as we start this file, you can template all the different transaction types that you're involved with. So think of that as your starting files. Do I consistently use these same forms every time? Because if the answer is yes, I consistently use those same 5 forms each time I start a listing, or the same 3 forms every time I have a new buyer prospect. You can template your transaction files to reduce redundancy. Today we are just going to start one from scratch, manually go through and set up this file. Pointing out the phrase, I would like to, that essential phrase, create new transaction, middle third of the page, right-hand side. I would like to create new transaction file. I click on that arrow to go to the next functional page of the start page. Well, we're going to start this file. The only requirement is that we give our file a name. We're going to name this new file. I don't know if it should be a buyer or seller. Maybe it's springtime, seen a bunch of listings coming out, so maybe it's time for the buyers to come out as well. We're going to start a new file for this buyer. Transaction name for our buyer is Kirkpatrick. Since I could spell Kirkpatrick, Sean, and he's condominium, and we'll go single family residential buyer. That's the only requirement. I could just go to the bottom right corner of the screen, bottom third, bottom right, and click Save. Start that from scratch and jump right to it. Everything here below the name, optional options to add content to this new file. Well, what type of transaction is this? Drop-down triangle to represent those menus. This is a residential sale. I'm going to represent Sean as the buyer's agent through this transaction. Have we identified a property at this point? If so, we can import from MLS. Most of you will have this. It's becoming more and more common for all of our users. If not, skip it. This is just a way to add details to our file. I am going to add it in so that I can show you the autofill features more predominantly here. Actually, that's not what I'm going to do. I just want to type that in. I would recommend, though, typically your new buyer is not going to have identified a property before you're starting your file. So where these things fall into place, there's always ways to import property information at that time, whether it's a new file or an existing file. TransactionDesk offers those tools. So, but optional. If you don't have it, don't worry. Just go to the next. Here's where it's going to ask you if you do want to start this new file from an existing or from a transaction template. If you have templated this type of file for new buyers, you can use that to start to automatically include content. So we have other webinars to cover that, to cover those setup features. Otherwise, we've given it a name, Sean Kirkpatrick, transaction type of a sale. We're going to bring in some property information to show those field mapping. We are going to be the selling agent. I am representing the buyer. I can change that. I would choose residential sales, so it kind of automatically set it, but it is changeable if you're neither or both. Otherwise, save that new transaction. Bottom right corner, bottom third, bottom right, saving the transaction file. Importing from the MLS. In this instance, that's why it takes another 5 to 15 seconds to reach out to the MLS, find that ID, import it in. Again, it's just going to save me a little typing right now for address, city, state, zip, things like that. So I can show you that those field mapping features are there, but not have to go through the actual steps to type it up. But so here are the content that's come over. Lot numbers and blocks and year built and addresses and list prices. Do I want to add or update any of this? Maybe if we are representing a buyer, we could add deposits or purchase prices. We could add closing dates. None of this is required. There are no asterisks. There are no required fields. If you know the details, you can certainly update these fields. I'm going to go to the closing date there, point out this blue icon, bottom third of the screen, kind of just shading to the left. That blue icon is a calendar icon, and by clicking on it, it is going to launch that calendar option. The only way you're going to allow that is if you allow pop-ups from TransactionDesk. So pick your closing date. I'm just going to grab one way out there in the future. Update those details, those fields. Is there a purchase price? Is there financing or earnest deposit? Again, just so we can see do something like that. Just so we can see those autofill features. But scrolling back up, nothing's required. Add what you have now. Come back at any time to update or revise. Contacts tab, moving left to right. Now, there is a save button there, top third right-hand side. There's another one way down in the bottom third on the right-hand side as well to save those changes that we made. Just to point out, and clicking on the next tab, I will also be prompted. Another big reason for allowing pop-ups to be prompted when you are needing to save some changes before leaving. So pointing that out, clicking OK, adding now, so we added some details. Now we got some contacts in here. The listing agent brought over from the MLS import. We've been added in. When you create your files, your accounts will be associated with offices, and your office and broker will be added in. I would like to, middle third, right-hand side, add a transaction contact. Click on Go. Because at the very least, I want to add Sean Kirkpatrick as a buyer contact to my transaction file. So drop-down menu. Again, this is where it highlights these options to choose the type of contact that we want to add to this transaction file. I want to add a buyer contact. That buyer contact is Sean Kirkpatrick. I want to add whatever content I have about Sean. I'm just going to throw in some information here quickly. Throw a little Austin at you, 512, and area code, an email address. Bottom third of the page, left-hand corner, checkbox says Add to My Contacts. I'm clicking there to select that checkbox. So as I slide over to the right-hand corner, two things are going to happen when I click on that Save Diskette in the bottom third, bottom right corner. As I click on Save, two things are going to happen. Sean is being added to my transaction file. Sean is being saved to my TransactionDesk contacts for future access. If you follow me to the top third, right-hand side, shading to the right contacts, there is unlimited storage for prospects and contacts. So I added Sean to my file. I saved him to my database. Sean's been added. If there are husbands and wives, brothers and sisters, parents and children, add them in as separate contacts. We would add the spouse. We would add the parent. I would like to add that second buyer. So each will auto-populate those printed name fields under those signature lines. So add those contacts in, tab, Forms tab now. Forms tab to now add the forms to this transaction file. To access our forms library, I would like to add new form. Yes, that's what I would like to do. Click on Go. I'm going to grab a couple here, maybe just to start the agency. Maybe it's that broker disclosure or the buyer representation agreement, or whatever forms that you are going to require for this new client, prospect, or transaction. Individual, click on the plus sign there to expand. I can click on the plus, actually double click on the folder name as well, so whichever is your preference there, the double click or the single click on the plus sign. I'm just going to choose a few here. That buyer broker agreement. I'm going to press and hold the control key to select additional forms from the list. Scrolling down, estimated cost of buyer is probably a good one for a new buyer. Pressing and holding the control key now, selecting the additional form, scrolling through the list. I know which ones I need. They're in alphabetical order. Pressing and holding the control key now, selecting the additional form. Selecting the additional form. So go through, pick up all the forms and contracts that you want to get started. Again, this is the first pass. This is just the first time you're going to be adding forms. You come back to your file anytime, add more addendums and amendments, and as those properties become identified. Adding selected forms, bottom third, bottom right corner, adding selected forms to this transaction. So now we're going to type them up, and I'm right at that 20-minute mark, so I'm not going to spend too much time looking at Forms Editor, but just enough. So I would like to, there's that phrase again, add new form. Nope, I want to expand that drop-down menu to auto-populate my forms. Auto-populating my forms and clicking on the Go arrow. Details, dates, and contact information. That is okay with me. That is how you're going to map the form fields to the transaction file field so that that data flows through from your file to your form. Clicking on that brokerage service agreement. Clicking on the form name to open the form in Forms Editor. And I think for most folks, Forms Editor is, you probably already typed up some online forms. You're at least going online to access and maybe printing them out blank now. But this is where you can type them up. This is where all of those blank fields are fillable. There is certainly boilerplate contract details that cannot be manipulated, changed, or otherwise messed with, for lack of a better word. But all of the fillable fields, all the blank fields are fillable. And I'm going to take a look at this column on the right. These are the forms that we've currently added. If we see a gaping miss here, follow me to the top third there, left shading to the left. Transaction, add new form. I'm in the form editor, drop-down menu, transaction, add new form. Right here will allow us to access our library of forms to bring additional forms into the file. It's a nice feature. Nice feature about this column here on the right too is this red minus sign. You can click there to shrink that against the right-hand side of the screen so that we can better see the form that we're working on and typing up. So going through the form, all of they're light blue on my screen. Hopefully they look somewhat light blue, maybe gray on yours. But these are all fillable fields. There's a calendar icon here on this particular form. You'll see those on your forms as well to be able to select those dates. But you can also type in there. They are typable. There are the icons. You can select them. If not, you can type to complete those fields as well. We're going to go through here and pick some data for these forms. Second amount of, yeah, that sounds like fair. By acceptance of the amount of compensation offered by listing or the seller, yes. Sounds fair. Go through. Now, these forms might not be the ones that you work with every day, but they're pretty similar throughout the nation. We look at a lot of different ones, but the blue fillables, they are fillable. You can type or paste down there in the brokerage transaction. Space bars allow you to select, put check marks in the check boxes. Tab will take you to the next fillable field where you can type or paste to add details to your online forms. When I say paste, anything that you can copy to your computer's clipboard, so to speak, you can paste into your forms and contracts. Go through, complete all of the required and optional fields within your forms and contracts. Save your changes. Saving the changes made here, top third. You will be prompted if you go to leave the form without. There are those save prompts. You can save your changes, just a quick run through. So this is not the first time you see, or this should maybe the first time you see some of these. File, save. You can export it to PDF. Save as a hard drive as a PDF. That's basically exporting to PDF or printing it to paper. So you can take those. As you type them up, you can print them out. And that was one thing we wanted to discuss through this transactions and setting up, printing out completed forms. As you type them up, you can print them out to paper. As we'll see, we can also many options to send the completed forms outbound via email and fax by the different delivery methods offered by TransactionDesk and DocBox. But this is Forms Editor. Go through all of your forms and contracts. Type up all of the required and optional fields in all of the required and optional forms. And in the top third of the page, right-hand corner, clicking on that plus sign to now expand. As I type up one form, I can quickly go to the next and the next to complete the fillable fields. Type up your online forms. Exiting from Form Editor, still going to be on the Form tab of our transaction file, but we have left the Forms Editor. We can go back and go to the next form and type it up and so forth, but we are otherwise moving forward with the feeling that we've typed them all up. They're ready to go. We've typed them up. How are you going to deliver them? Showed a print feature. I would like to. I can email these selected forms outbound. I can fax them. So these are delivering them outbound and in anticipation of getting an ink signature on a paper page. You are emailing that selected form. Your recipient will receive the email with a PDF attachment or a link to the online form. They print it, they sign it, and they start delivering them back to you. So there are those options to email or fax outbound. Printing the selected forms to PDF will actually merge your forms together into one comprehensive PDF that you can print to paper, that you can save offline or deliver through a personal email account. So the print selected forms to PDF will allow you to merge them and save them offline or attach them to an email from your personal email. Because this email selected forms is a TransactionDesk email. It's coming right from your online account. You are sender in name only when you are delivering that outbound email from your TransactionDesk account. But you can email selected forms, fax them, delivery methods once they're typed up. The delivery method that we want to focus on here for the next 18 minutes is Authentisign, the digital way to deliver your typed up forms for signatures. That digital opportunity. So yes, DocBox and TransactionDesk offer printing, emailing, and faxing methods, but we also offer Authentisign. And right here from the Forms tab, I'm just going to go to the top third of the page, the right-hand corner, and click on Authentisign. Authentisign to now prepare these typed up forms for digital signatures. Signings that we've generated in the past, what we're going to do is create a new signing. Top third of the page, left-hand corner, create new signing. This is our second. We've now segued into the second 20-minute, just a couple minutes behind, but hopefully we'll pick up speed. In this example, we are going to import from a saved transaction. So using that circle to be able to select from our transaction files. Again, there's that drop-down triangle. Different page, different view, but same little icon there. We are going to import details from our Sean Kirkpatrick file. But before I click on continue, Authentisign can be used as a standalone feature. So if you're typing up your forms in a different form editor, or you have documents that are being delivered to you by cooperating agents as PDFs, you can upload those and create signings as well. Clicking here on continue, and really the only difference between creating a blank and importing from a transaction is all the content that we're going to be prompted with by importing from our file. Here on the first step 1 of 5, our transaction file name was Kilpatrick Sean, single family residential buyer. I'm going to add here buyer agency agreement, and you could take all this information out. You can certainly update the name of the file, but that's the first step. Name it. Clicking on next, blue next button, top third, right hand shade, clicking on next. That's the first step, is giving your signing a name, and make it unique so that you can recognize it and go, okay, that's the one for the buyer agency, and this is the one for the sale contract, and this is the one for the settlement statement, and so forth. So identify your signings so you can quickly find them in the future. Contact step, we are adding participants to our signing. Of the contacts in our file, which ones are going to participate in this signing? Now for this example, I'm just going to choose one. I'm just going to choose Sean as a signer, just to keep it to a minimum of going through, because I want to go through the steps that the signer takes too. So I want you to see those and the integration with documents on the far side. So Sean is a signer. I'm going to select him as such, and I'm going to add that contact. Before we leave this participant page, though, I want to point out that you can also add participants manually. So participants who may not be in your transaction file, you can add that new participant by clicking here on the blue. Is it blue? Is it green? when it's alone, it's blue. As I hover my mouse, it turns green. To add that participant, their name, their first, middle, and last, their email address. Are they a signer, a reviewer, or a CC only? A signer has signature or initial requirements on the documents that we are preparing. So we are going to plot signature and initial blocks. Authentisign will base those signatures and initials off of the name, the first, the middle, and the last. So however your signer likes to have their name represented, we want to type that in here to show that, to start that signature process. Signer, signature initial requirements. Reviewer has access to the online signing, can see the documents being signed, but has no requirements for initials or signatures of their own. Maybe that's a managing or sponsoring broker. CC only doesn't get anything but a final copy. Maybe it's a lender or a title officer, to make sure that they get a copy immediately at the finalization of that signing. So maybe I'll add them in. We'll leave them out. So you can add those different signing participants, bring them in, types too. I want to look at accessing the type of signer. So Sean is a signer buyer. So you want to make sure as you add your signing participants, if they are a seller or a broker or agent, choose that appropriate type for the signing participant you're adding. So we're importing them from our file. We're adding them manually. We're moving to the next step. Next, blue next button, top third, right-hand side. Going to now add the forms and documents documents that we need to have signed. Choose one here from the list, just like we chose one contact, one document, the buyer broker service agreement. This is what we need to have signed. All right, you talked me into two. We'll do this disclosure as well. But add the ones from our transaction file. Those are the ones we were being prompted with. If I didn't have a file, if I was starting from scratch, I would just be adding these details manually. I would have given it a name, and I would have added my participants and upload files. Because this step, top third, left-hand, shading to the left, not only in the corner, but upload a file. I'm going to select this icon to show that you can access stored documents that you have stored offline in your laptops or desktop computers or your USB thumb drives. Wherever you have those documents currently exported and saved, we can add them to our signing. Clicking here to add a file, we'll find that stored document. We'll just choose this browser compatibility. It's right here. But PDF documents, PDF documents, JPEGs, Word, Excel, doesn't matter. The file type is not really, I don't want to say it's not important, but Authentisign supports them all. So I add it in, I upload it, accessing those documents and importing them into our signing. Whatever documents that we need to get signatures, we can import or upload into our signing. We can select them from forms or documents that we have saved online in our accounts and so forth. Point this out as well. Being flagged as potentially rotated or landscaped. We have an option here to review the document that we've uploaded. Clicking on the document name, we have that opportunity to review it so that we can rotate the pages. We can even delete pages or remove pages from this uploaded document. So if there was just a couple pages that we needed to have signed out of, maybe 1 or 2 need initials out of the 10 that we just uploaded, we can delete them out. So we can rotate pages by clicking on there and continue. Which pages, which direction should they be rotated? We have those options. Delete pages, which pages, either arrange or, whichever pages you need to have removed. Identify them here. And otherwise, just click on select the pages, rotate them. Select the pages, delete them. When you're done, close the window. So a way to manage that document that you're uploading into the signing. Only bring in the pages that you want. Make sure that they are facing the appropriate direction. Once you've uploaded or imported and gotten your documents and forms, because these are the forms that we typed up. These are the ones we just typed up in our transaction file. We're now going to plot signatures and initials, clicking on the blue next, top third, next, preparation page to prepare these with initial blocks and signature blocks. We're going to drag and drop those into place. I don't know if I pointed it out, and I apologize if I did. Maybe you noticed it and I just didn't say anything about it. But in this client, Oklahoma City, you have Authentisign templates in play so that the buyer clients and sellers, as we add these signing participants to our signings and then import the completed forms, Authentisign is plotting where those signature and initial requirements are. We've generated Authentisign templates to predetermine where buyer and seller and listing agent and listing broker initial and signature requirements are. So those have been pre-plotted. So in a sense, we're just going to confirm that they are in the right place. Left-hand side here, column on the left is the thumbnails. We have 9 pages within this signing. We'll go through and click on the thumbnail pages that have signature and initial requirements. In this case, I'm going to click on page 2. I think there's some signatures there that have some requirements. Just moving around clockwise, navigation tools. I can zoom in or zoom out or find that ratio. I do like the fit width. Kind of gets rid of those left and right margins. Drawing tools, I can add, I call them micro adjustments. So maybe here we'll try this one. Create the line annotation. I like the line draw for strike over. I'm going to select that feature. And I'm going to bring my mouse onto the page. You can see that it's turned now into a crosshair. Where do I want to strike over? Cell phone. I'm going to plot this line and click and drag to cover the area that I want to strike over. So I like to strike over for those redactions. I like the text tool. Again, I'm in the top third right-hand corner. I like the text tool, this little T, to create a text annotation. Select that one. Bring it onto the page. Crosshair. Click one time, and it generates this text box. I can move it around. It's instructing me to double-click that block to add edit. So maybe it was the wrong number and it should have been 512-444-9999, something like that. So you can make these adjustments to your online Authentisign documents. You can add these little redactions, strikeovers, drawing tools. Right now, view signing party, Sean is highlighted. He's the only signing party, but if you have multiple parties, whomever you're going to be dragging signatures and initials for will be the highlighted party. You will choose, highlight them. I'm going to grab an initial for that change, click and hold to drag and drop that onto the page. So you You drag and drop the blocks. You click and hold to drag and drop. This was a pre-plotted. I can still move it around. I can grab it and move it if I need to replot it, make sure it's in the appropriate place. Another thing that you should know about Authentisign in this preparation page, the right mouse menu. When I hover my mouse on that block, I can use the right mouse button to yield this additional menu. I right mouse click on the signing block to yield this menu if I need date stamps, or if it's in the wrong place or for the wrong person. I can delete it. I can add the date stamp to it. I think I will add that date stamp. Maybe we'll put it up here. Something like that. All of these blocks, even the initial blocks, if I right click on the initial block, I'll get that menu. Delete, name, or even a full name if we need the full name block. That's in there as well. So we go through, drag and drop. There's no requirements on page 3, but we do have some more on page 4. So going to page 4 of the thumbnails, bottom third, bottom left, page 4. Looks like these might have been for a different. Let's drag and drop. Show it again. Signature line. I'm going to highlight the signing party. In this case, it is Sean. I'm going to choose the middle size block. I'm clicking and holding, dragging and dropping that block onto the page. I'm right-clicking on the block, right mouse menu to click to add features. Maybe I will add that name block in this instance because it needs this printed name field. Click and hold to drag, move it around where it needs to go. When Sean clicks to accept this block, the name field will be plotted as well. So that's what ends up happening. Got to do a date stamp as well. Why not? Get them all in there for him. Go through wherever you would require an ink signature, wherever you would require an ink initial, plot that digital signature or that digital initial. Prepare your typed up forms with all the required and optional. You can see there's some optional ones here on the left column of those drag and drops. If you have multiple initial requirements, multiple pages, bottom third of the screen here, right hand corner, add initials to multiple pages, little input form so that you can add multiple initials across multiple pages. Kind of save you some time of dragging and dropping. So it's a nice way to get buyers and sellers and brokers or whomever, if they have multiple initial requirements across multiple documents, it's a great input for that. Otherwise, basics, clicking Next here on the top center of the screen, clicking on Next, we've plotted the required signatures and initials. We've plotted those features. We've pretty much come to a completion of our signing. We gave it a name. We added our signing participants. Follow me here on the left-hand side, middle third, I guess, shading to the bottom third of the left. We gave our signing a name. We added our participants. We imported and uploaded forms and documents. We prepared them with signature and initial blocks. We can go back to any of these steps and add more, revise, update, and so forth. Otherwise, we want to keep moving forward. We want to deliver this document now to our client. We're going to confirm, yes, the name is correct. Yes, the email Authentisign is correct. I can edit it here on the fly. I can customize the subject line or the message that's being included in this invitation. We'll call it the BAA for Kirkpatrick. Something like that. Message, skip that, save. It's just so they can, in my opinion, so they can see that subject line, identify with it, and pick it out of that litany of other email messages being delivered. But again, we can go back to any, we can even exit out of the wizard to save this and come back and deliver it at a later time. Otherwise, we are finalizing and sending. We got thumbs up for liftoff here. But like any good program, it's going to take the first click as the final. Giving you some notes here in case the email signing party obtained or changed prior, simple follow the instructions. We'll show you how to do that. But it's really just making sure that you are ready to send it. Because at this point, when I click finalize and send, it really is going to kind of lock down these documents. So I'm going to click that button. it's locking down the signing. It's all on secure Authentisign site, so that's being locked down. The document invitation is being delivered to that first signing participant. We can see we can reset it. So if we're like, I shouldn't have done that, I needed to XYZ, middle third, right hand corner, really right hand side, you can reset it. It will reset it back to right before we hit finalize and send for the second time. All of our content will still be in there. We can just add to it or revise it in any way. So we can reset it, kind of rescind that invitation, and move forward that way. Anytime we can come back and click on the signing name to relaunch that, to review and see that signing progress. What we want to do now, so if you'll just bear with me here, I'm just going to log into that Gmail account so you can see the steps of that first signing participant. The email they get and the steps they take, because that Authentisign just delivered the invitation to participate in this online signing. That signing participant is going to get that email. BAA for Kirkpatrick. Click on, and you can see, before I leave this page, you can see that Authentisign delivers updates and notifications to you, the creator, as the signing goes through those phases. So you see there are a lot of Authentisign action taken when a signing participant accesses and authenticates and completes. So clicking here on BAA for Kirkpatrick, that again, you are sender in name only. You see that it came from us as the sender. But look at the email address, secure at Authentisign. So you are sender in name only. At times, if you have delivered the email outbound and your recipient saying, well, they never got it, have them check their email filters, maybe for spam or bulk, or if they have some autoresponder, have them check other folders of their email inboxes, specifically spam. Things can get filtered. I mean, it's just a hazard of the emailing business. So if you have those responses from clients, that's the first step. Check your spam, bulk, or other filters for those messages, because it's coming from that secure at Authentisign.com address. Invitation to participate, clicking here on the words or here on the big blue icon. I'm going to click on that one because the first thing Sean needs to do, just like any signing participant, is authenticate, agree to use Authentisign, digital signatures, legal and binding, meets all the federal regulations for digital signatures in a real estate transaction. Refresh themselves with the terms of service, create a unique password for themselves, because they really are at this point creating a bit of a profile. Creating a bit of a profile for themselves so that each time or each subsequent signing event, this profile will be remembered. I'm in the bottom left corner, I'm clicking here on the signature modify. I can have the choice of different signature fonts that I may want to select to best represent my electronic signature. Whether it looks anything like my handwritten signature or not doesn't really matter. Clicking there on accept doesn't really matter as long as I agree that the unique identity and signature I've approved representation of my signature when signing all documents in an Authentisign e-signature. So whatever they would like it to be, as long as they confirm and accept. Authentisign will remember the password. Only Authentisign and that unique participant know that password. There are password retrieval tools and so forth, but that password is unique to that signing participant. That's all they'll need to participate in future signings is that password. Moving forward, we're going to click here as this page loads up. Click the Start Signing button to locate and highlight the first signing block. So as soon as that page loads, there are 9 pages really, we'll click the Start Signing in the top right corner because Authentisign will locate, highlight with a blue blinky box the required initial and signatures. So it will walk us through those required signing blocks, but otherwise very visually similar to our preparation page. The thumbnails on the left, the navigation tools at the top, the Start Signing button here. That's not the same as the preparation page, but similar layout. So when I click on Start Signing, Authentisign is going to locate the first signing block. I have 3 items remaining to be clicked. Again, I can zoom in, use those navigation tools, but just your time is of the essence. All required is me to click on that blinking box. As I do, the date, and we could zoom in it if you think, but takes me to the next one, and I click to accept. I click to accept. 1 remaining. It is that signature there at the bottom. Selecting it again. Sean is added. Name is stamped. Date is stamped as well. So pages, they click to accept. When they do, time and date stamped, captures IP address, adds that font. Let me just zoom in just a smidge so you can get a little better idea of the look and feel. So, but they're not done. It says it can be done, but although they've selected them all, they can go through now all the pages, read the contracts, make sure they understand. If they don't, or they can reject the signing at any point. They can reject if they read something that they don't agree with. Otherwise, done and accept all is the first time they have to click it to complete their portion. They can stay and review, certainly can. Otherwise, they're going to complete their signing. Now they're done. Now Authentisign locks it down. If there are additional signing participants, the invitation will be now delivered to that second signer, that husband, that wife, that brother, the sister, parent or child. So Authentisign will deliver that second invitation to the next participant. Little thank you. The signer can come back and review the little dashboard and see the progress and re-access final documents. Everybody who participates receives a final document. So I'm going to go ahead and close this little thank you page out. That was our email account going back to the Authentisign. See, hopefully it won't be timed out, but if I click on the name of the signing, it's going to time me out. Yeah, I thought it might. Bear with me one sec. I think I'm going to opt out of showing that. Let's see if I log back in, because that really is the 20 plus. We're kind of got a little bit behind on those 2 features, but that was preparing Authentisign, going through the first signing participant. In this instance, the first and only signing participant. So log back into the TransactionDesk account to show you that the integration back to DocBox now, back to the document section of our transaction file. So clicking here on transactions, we'll have an opportunity to review that final document because one has been saved into our online transaction file. There's our Sean Kirkpatrick file. Clicking on the file name to relaunch or re-access that file. The details, the contacts, the forms. We've looked at these tabs already, right? Details, contacts. I can update any of this. I can make changes, revisions. I'm going to look now at documents. To the Documents tab, middle third, center screen, Documents. We'll talk about the fax cover sheet in a moment, but here is the signed document that's been returned to our transaction file, that final signed. Let me click on that name to view that document, to kind of give you the view of the document that's been received back. This document can be delivered outbound by email. If you deliver it via email, it's going to retain all of the electronic content and components within the digital signature blocks and all of those key captures. If you print it or fax it, it's going to retain all of the page stamps, the initials, the signatures, the dates, the full names, things like that. But it will not contain the digital componentry if you print it to paper or send as a paper fax. Let's just see if we can get down to view one. There it is. So I just wanted to point out these little keys, and as you hover over the digital document, time and date it was accepted, IP address, the stamps. It is a PDF document that can be emailed or saved, exported to a PDF, saved offline. Whatever you need to do with it, you can take the appropriate steps to review it, retain it for state-required retention periods online, deliver it via email, fax, or print to appropriate recipients, work with those online documents, returning. But just to show the integration, we typed up forms We imported that transaction forms into Authentisign. We then received the signed document right back to our transaction file. So a nice loop, paperless loop to manage that sale process. So not only can we receive back that way, but in the last 8 minutes here we want to talk about the fax back cover sheet and scanning and uploading, and maybe in the reverse. I would like to, just again so I can re-highlight that phrase here at the end of the session, I would like to consistent phrase, drop down menus when I click on those upside down triangles, to email or fax documents outbound, to upload documents, because perhaps you're also scanning documents to file. Anytime you come across paper, anytime someone hands you paper or signed ink pages, fax pages, things like that, you want to scan those to file and upload them to your transaction. So we saw it, the upload within the signing. It's exactly the same steps to upload documents to your file. So go through those steps to scan and upload to your online transactions. So that's one way to get digital documents back, scanning and uploading. Another way is the fax back cover sheet. Clicking here on the fax back cover sheet to talk about the inbound faxing. We've seen the option to send outbound faxes, internet faxing. You don't need to be within 1,000 miles of a fax machine, right, to send an outbound fax. It's internet faxing. You are instructing TransactionDesk and DocBox to send the outbound fax. In this instance, this cover sheet is converting your inbound fax to a PDF document. That's what these cover sheets do. The barcode technology on these cover sheets, first thing, they're all brandable, so you can certainly update these branding with your company logos and so forth. But hopefully the function is in the name, fax back. This is when you want to use a fax machine to deliver your paper fax back to your online transaction file. The fax number is generic. The barcode is unique. Our receiving faxes read this barcode, convert paper to PDF, deliver the PDF to your online transaction file. Use these cover sheets to convert your faxes into scanners, because they become exactly the same. You are feeding your fax machine paper. You're using this cover sheet as that cover sheet. You put that as a top sheet as you feed that fax machine, dial the toll-free number. Our receiving faxes read the barcode, convert the paper to PDF, and deliver to your transaction file. And in all these instances of faxing, you are going to receive email notifications. You're going to get notifications that the fax was successfully sent, the fax was received. In the case of the fax back cover sheets, received faxes along with PDF copies of the received pages. So you get a copy saved online to your transaction, you receive a copy emailed to you to your email account. So those are different ways to get the documents back in to your transaction file. Authentisign final documents routed back to your transaction file. In the top third of the page, right-hand corner, clicking there on Return to Documents. So Authentisign documents were automatically rerouted right back to that transaction file. So that was one way to get them back in. I would like to upload, so when you're scanning files, scanning paper to online files, upload them. When you are scanning paper to local files, when you're saving them on your desktop, use the upload feature to put them online in your online transactions. Or if you're faxing, if you have that fax machine you've been trying to repurpose, the fax cover sheets are a great way to repurpose an old fax machine and start using it as a scanner. Print out the cover sheet and continue to reuse that cover sheet over and over and over again throughout that transaction file history. So with that said, I want to be very mindful of everybody's time. This is the DocBox document retention portion of our webinar session here. I want to see if we could talk more about the DocBox and some of the additional features to that are features of the DocBox, if you will. I think we have just a couple more minutes. It does involve going to the Pro view, though. So if you do have questions about anything that we've seen so far, please do not hesitate to continue typing those into the chat section. From here, I'm going to leave this transaction file. I'm going to go back, clicking on the transactions link there, top third, just shading to the left a little bit, clicking on transactions. Access to all the files that we created, come back at any time, add, edit, manage, and so forth. Going back to the Home tab, or the link there, Home, top third, left-hand corner. So just kind of backing out kind of what we've covered. We covered transactions. We created a new transaction file. We added details, dates, contacts, and forms. We typed up those forms. We showed how DocBox and TransactionDesk offer emailing, faxing, and printing features for typed up forms. So we went through that kind of the first, it was more like 25 minutes, but we went through that the first 20. The second 20, we took those typed up forms, and instead of printing them, faxing them, or emailing them, we imported them into Authentisign and prepared them for digital signatures. And we went through the process and set up a new signing, gave it a name, added signing participants, imported and uploaded forms and documents, plotted digital signatures and initials onto those pages, delivered that outbound. Then when we completed the signing, came to DocBox, showed how that final document was reloaded right back to that transaction file, talked about scanning and uploading documents to your file and using fax cover sheets to get those documents back online, back in your online transaction file. So with 2 minutes left, I am going to go and show you the two additional features of DocBox, and maybe just kind of incite or get you interested. So going to the Pro view, top right corner, right third, top right corner, DocBox Pro. Pro view is the exact same account as the Lite view, just offers more transaction management features. That's all it boils down to. The number of features available in the I would like to menus is more, and just more transaction management features. To see these additional DocBox features I'm talking about, DocBox to go and DocBox print driver, I'm going to go over to the Settings tab. Top third of the page, right-hand side, Settings tab. DocBox does offer just a number of document management. So in the Lite view, it's really about retention. Within DocBox, though, we offer all kinds of document management tools. Choosing the My Preferences, kind of top third, I guess, left-hand corner, My Preferences, clicking there on Continue. And for the last minute here, just want to speak to DocBox to go in the bottom third. Bottom really left-hand corner, first DocBox to go. This DocBox to go settings is an opportunity to access your transaction files through your smartphone. DocBox2go.com does everything except allow you to type up an online form. The DocBox to go offers access to your transaction files, to your contacts, to your saved documents, to your completed forms. So all of those transaction file features are available through DocBox to go. You just cannot access Forms Editor. But otherwise, if you're on the go, have requests for documents and pre-qual letters and loan payoff amounts, whatever you need, this is where being online 24 hours a day from any internet-enabled device, DocBox to go settings. So come over here, take a peek at that. The DocBox print driver just above it is a great tool to virtually print any document to email, fax, or upload. There's no paper involved in the DocBox print driver. It is a virtual tool that will connect you to DocBox to utilize the upload, the fax, or the email. And the way I always like to show this is by re-raising this audio message, and just to point out any document that I can access, and if there's a file drop-down menu with a print feature, by selecting that, I can access the DocBox printer by Instanet Solutions. And that's as far as we're going to go in this demonstration, but I want you to know it's there. We have 6-minute tutorials and content that you can review about DocBox to go and print driver. But this print driver will literally log you into your DocBox account so that you can upload, email, or fax right from that print menu. Great little tool. Canceling out of there, but that is available through the DocBox Pro View Settings tab. Thank you again for the opportunity to present. I'm going to scroll down here If you'd like to find some of those details, you can find them in the materials section of your GoToTraining sidebar. There are links there. If you expand that GoToTraining sidebar, the materials tool, material section, you'll find links to videos on our YouTube site, which is youtube.com/InstanetWebinars. This is the link. It is available through that material section to watch a 5-minute tutorial on DocBox, Print Driver, DocBox to go, to watch another 60-minute overview, or catch a 1-minute how do I send a fax, how do I email that form packet. So those 1 to 3-minute, 1 to 5-minute tutorial videos and up to 60-minute full overviews available on Instanet Webinars YouTube. If you'd like to schedule a follow-up webinar session for your team or your office so we can tailor the content specifically to your time and need, please let us know, tungle.me/webinargreg. They are free. Like I said, can be tailored to your specific need, are much more interactive so we can talk to each other, discuss implementation strategies, and so forth. But with that said, thank you again so much for the opportunity to present. And until we webinar again, I hope that you have a tremendous, tremendous day.